Welcome to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, back with you to follow up from last week's watch of Spider-Man Far From Home. This week we're watching Spider-Man No Way Home. Because, well, number one, the main reason is they're very close to each other on the timeline. They happen in different phases of Marvel, 4 and 5. However, they take place right next to each other. So this kind of move by the movies hasn't really been done before, in my opinion. That I can think of. Maybe like an Endgame. So if you've been around a while or you've searched the backlog, you know there's another Spider-Man No Way Home episode, and that is the night that it came out. So it'll be close to like the 60-70 episode range, close to when I kind of stopped recording for a while. And it's a very raw, instant reaction of like the whole movie, me seeing it with a crowd in theaters. You should go listen to it if you want. I'm very hyped up in it, but I'm still really hyped up in here just to kind of like come back and touch upon the whole movie and Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy. And there's a lot to go on this episode if you're a fan of Spidey, if you're a fan of the MCU, or even just Tom Holland himself. One thing that's at the top of my head at the top of this episode before we go into things, I've seen headlines recently with Zendaya and Tom Holland. You take everything with a grain of salt, but you also hear things sometimes because they're true and they're spreading fast. So this is just hearsay, a little gossip for you guys, and you might have heard of it yourself. Tom Holland and Zendaya, they're gonna have a baby together. They're together. How beautiful is that? They like take them apart in this movie, and they have to be broken up because that's the only way Peter can save the world. We'll get there, but the love is so strong between them in real life as well. It's just so amazing, which leads me to the point. Tom has stated that he wants to disappear once he's done, and it's going to be within a few years. I'm worried that even more comfortably, not comfortable enough for us. Like, I don't know if he'll be here to do 6 Spider-Man movies total. I hope so. I really do. I think his contract's always constantly being worked out because of Marvel and Sony. But if we lose Tom Holland, I don't know. I gotta say, he's my favorite Spider-Man, and it's because of his journey through the MCU, and it's because of this young actor growing into the part. It's something a fan can only dream of, watching Spider-Man grow and grow and grow to be a leader. And we're going to see that definitely through Secret Wars, but I just hope they don't take away another trilogy. I want to see another trilogy of Spider-Man movies. And I think if we show enough love and manifest it enough, we'll be able to do it. This movie really doesn't hold back. There's so much at stake from the very beginning, because Peter Parker, he's been outed by Mysterio from the last movie. His identity is out there, and we don't see this happen a lot on screen to Spidey. He has not lost his secret identity yet, and it's funny and ironic that some heroes go around without a mask, like Iron Man. Everyone knows Tony Stark's Iron Man, but Peter is so homegrown. I'll use the home analogy, that he has to keep the mask on because everyone will go crazy if they knew he was Spider-Man. Hence, this is happening to him. The first 30 minutes of this movie, they definitely feel like classic Spider-Man. But then the multiverse crashes in. That was me dropping my phone. And that was actually the multiverse dropping my phone. I'm going to leave it in there because that's kind of weird and cool at the same time. Seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield again as Spider-Man in the same movie, by the way, as the other Spider-Man, it feels surreal. It's something that you'd think would be impossible if you were talking to me about it 10 years from now. 10 years ago. 10 years from now, let me see if I could just peek ahead. I'd like some advantages. And the ending of this movie, it is gut-wrenching, and it's the biggest act of a hero, even though he kind of did it to himself a little bit, but it is heroic what Tom does. Tom Holland, that's freaking Peter Parker, man. Tom Holland's just, I can't believe I said that. But when he makes a sacrifice because he has to save his own life and to save the others around him from getting hurt by this multiversal incident, and he is the truest Peter Parker. Might be one of the greatest MCU movies ever made. It's that special. And I do think that there was so much hype revolving around Tobey and Andrew that this was honestly like a hype up fest for that. But the movie took its time and gave us a little bit of everything in pieces, and the way they gave it to us and all the way as it led to the end of the movie, I thought it was fantastic, and it makes for a ride of a movie. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's go back to the beginning. Like I was saying, this is all fallout from Mysterio from the last movie, Far From Home, where Mysterio fakes his death, in my opinion, but he actually dies. Right now, it's that he died. I don't think he really died. I think he's still out there somewhere somehow, because that's just his whole character. He's got mischief, and he's a little bit of magic, and he can sneak out of places without Peter right in front of his eyes. I don't know what he did, but I think he got away. Anyway, he's not in this movie, and we never heard from him again, so I'm probably wrong. But Peter's identity, like I said, is exposed, and it wrecks his life. I love him jumping around the city with MJ, running away from all the people, but in reality, this is a very traumatic experience for him, and I'm assuming MJ. MJ is so freaked out, and there's this moment where she's standing on top of the bridge with him. It's one of my favorites. It's a great shot. It looks terrifying. She is just like, I don't want to be carried around again. I think she even told him they were going through like a swinging thing at the end of the last movie, so she's been swinging with him a lot, and she don't like it too much. Okay, but like one of the best parts also of the beginning of this movie was Matt Murdock's cameo. I think I'm getting even more excited because we're watching Daredevil now and then reflecting and watching No Way Home with Matt Murdock making this cameo. It makes everything feel so stick together, and I like that. It makes Daredevil feel so much bigger, and it makes Daredevil feel glued into the making of the MCU, and he's been here for 10 years and we didn't even know it. Peter's first instinct is to fix it for everyone, and that is classic Peter Parker. MJ and Ned are both rejected from MIT directly because of Peter, and he didn't want to like talk about how bad that felt to them, I'm guessing, because they already felt bad and were trying to be nice about it. And you know what? They're great friends. Honestly, they're disappointed, but I believe that they're good enough friends to where they're not like holding Peter super accountable. He didn't ask to get his identity revealed, and these two just happen to have to be stuck with him on that for a moment. But this is what really drives and motivates Peter. And Peter goes to the one guy who he thinks can help with the situation, and that happens to be Dr. Stephen Strange, who I love. I freaking love Doctor Strange, and this is a before Multiverse of Madness. We've covered Multiverse of Madness. If you want to go back, it's a great episode. I should have the number ready for you, but it's within the last 50 episodes. It was a while ago we talked about it. I actually did them the first two in a row. I kind of like seeing what the movies feel like together. Peter's got the Avengers and the Civil War, so he's got like a whole story mapped out across other Avengers and other movies and his own 3 movies. And I'm curious also that what will it feel like for a person who doesn't know the MCU to watch Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home, then No Way Home, no Avengers, not much knowledge on any of it. How does that trilogy work for them? In my opinion, I think it's possible for it to be watched as a trilogy without those movies. It's just significantly better, in my opinion, to know all that outside stuff and know what Peter's gone through and how he got where he is in Far From Home and going into No Way Home. But let's get back to the idea of crossovers and the fact that they brought Matt Murdock into this movie to catch a brick. And I'm a really good lawyer. So how'd you do that? I'm a really good lawyer. They made a callback to that in this recent Daredevil episode. Go watch Daredevil. If you haven't, you're missing out. All right, sorry to tangent out on you there. Back to Doctor Strange. And, Peter, this is the way he kind of like knows to go about it. He asked Doctor Strange for help. And Wong definitely disapproves. But it seems like Doctor Strange just really wants to help Peter out. They save the universe together. Strange mentions that to him. Great reference to Infinity War, their history. And they did fight. A big part of them fight was them fighting together because Peter jumping through those portals, punching Thanos, one of the funnest parts. Somehow Peter keeping the near end of the world a lighthearted experience for us and the viewers, which is why it hurts us so when he seemingly dies in Infinity War for 5 years. And possibly the motivation behind Tony Stark creating time travel. And a little bit more of a tangent, I think Tony Stark creating time travel created the multiverse and is actually the moment, the Nexus event, whatever we call it, I forget, that actually brings everything into order. And we're going to have some retconning along those lines, I'm thinking, to make the Doctor Doom thing kind of tie back to some of the stuff that happened in Endgame, and Infinity War. They're going to break that down. They're going to turn what seemed to be the ending into a new beginning, and the ramifications of all that time travel. We've only seen ramifications of time travel throughout this whole saga, or multiversal travel. So it's going to be interesting to see that coming back, Doctor Doom. How much of this story of Tony Stark will he know, and where along the line did Tony Stark become Doctor Doom? There's so much to be answered, and Tom Holland will be the most. I gotta start saying Spider-Man, but Tom Holland's Spider-Man will be the most affected by that, because he really cherished and respected, and he just loved Tony Stark. He carried him up. He was his idol. The villains return after this big thing that Doctor Strange does, and Doctor Strange is upset because he kept getting his spell interrupted by Peter, which is pretty funny. And as funny as it is the actual reason Peter has to do what he does at the end of the movie. So it's actually kind of sad. Peter's optimism is so pure, and that gets challenged and broken a little bit in this movie. We get Doc Ock on the bridge. That fight, honestly, chef's kiss, instantly iconic. I couldn't ask for more. Like, that was just the greatest opening to the villains coming back. Most of them come from an exact point in their movie that we've seen, that we know they got dragged out of. And for Doc Ock, it was him nearly dying before he pulled the thing out. I will not take the city with me, or something like that. Doc Ock was about to die pretty much before he got brought into this world. I love his "Hello, Peter." He thinks it's Spider-Man because he's wearing a Spider-Man suit. He even points out, "Nice fancy new suit." I love that. The other villains that return: Green Goblin, William Dafoe. If you want to hear me just rave over William Dafoe, just go listen to the last time we talked about this movie. He was my favorite part, and in all honesty, he's fantastic as the Green Goblin. You can't take that away from him. I want him again in Secret Wars. Is it crazy to think? I don't know. They all remember Spider-Man, but not this Spider-Man. That's the thing. William Dafoe's Green Goblin steals the freaking show. Like I said, though, pure chaos and spine-chilling performance on his part, and he seemed to be really happy to come back to the part and give it his all. Like most of the other actors, you could tell that Jamie Foxx liked this version of Electro a lot, and he kind of got some redemption from some of the criticism that movie faced. One of the biggest and hardest moments of this movie, Aunt May's death, and we never saw Peter Parker lose his Uncle Ben in this universe, so we always assumed he got his great power, great responsibility line given to him already, but no. He's never muttered a word like that. So when Aunt May says with great power, must come great responsibility, she says it a tiny bit different, and it hits different too. She's the one. She's the Ben Parker. She's the Uncle Ben to this Peter Parker. When I thought Tony was an idol to him, but this is his family, and it breaks him in this movie when Green Goblin actually kills her. We love to see that sinister side of William Dafoe. We love seeing Norman get punched in the face by Peter and start laughing like the Joker from Batman. He is a devastating villain, and he devastated Peter more than anyone. He shattered his soul. And at this time in the movie, we needed something to pick us up, and that would be Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, former Spider-Man, and never appearing on screen together before, never appearing in the MCU before, making their debuts, arguably making all of their previous movies and stuff canon to the MCU, and whatever is out there Marvel-wise, Marvel's taking it all in and making it a part of the multiverse. Good, bad, argued, anything. Even rumors of there being animated heroes in the world of the non-animated real people. And that would be insane. Like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or Space Jam type stuff. I'm all for that in Secret Wars. I hope it's only in Secret Wars because I think the craziest stuff we're going to see is in Secret Wars. And it's not going to be that grounded, but it will be all the stakes, and I'm excited for that. So I'm skipping ahead, but I know Spider-Man's going to have a big part in those movies, and I think that might be his greatest arc. These movies of Doomsday, his sixth movie, which is being, or not his sixth, his fifth movie, which is being planned out, or four. It's his fourth one. Sorry. No Spider-Man's made it to 4 yet. So I hope we'll just see that. But when Tobey and Andrew arrive, we learn that Ned can open portals, and he says, "Find Peter Parker." And I don't know what that means for Ned, since Peter's forgetting him. It kind of leaves the door open for Peter to be able to remember him again, or maybe Peter's identity will be outed again. So Doctor Strange will just remove the spell, and they'll just remember everything. I hope Ned and MJ don't get anything going on, like, relationship wise. That will be really awkward and sad to see, because I'm sure that Peter's still going to be watching them from afar. Andrew walks through the first portal, and Tobey for the second, and the theater does explode. And I'll tell you, these are the type of movies you need to be in the audience. I'm sorry, like, you can enjoy it at home if you haven't seen it yet, obviously, but I would recommend, if you haven't had this experience, go. If you know it's a big movie like this, go to the theater on opening night, and you are a part of something bigger than yourself. Like this was a momentous moment that was only deemed to be watched with other fans, in my opinion. And all the cheers and all the chaos and all the excitement and happiness in that theater, it was beautiful. And that's just that is a pure prime example of why I'll never stop being a fan of Marvel, and why I want to make this podcast, because I can't talk to anyone at this length all the time about Marvel, and I just got so much to say. The chemistry is really good, because you get to see the other Peter Parkers console our Spider-Man, Tom Holland, and he really needs these guys right now. It's just ironic that like two other versions of himself are here to fight all these other versions, villains that the other two guys fought. It's a pretty interesting multiversal situation. But I just like seeing the three together. They bring heart and healing, and that big fight at the end where they're fighting the four bad guys, because Doc Ock isn't really in the fight, and Venom is off doing something else, right? So Green Goblin is like the final boss, and then they're fighting the Lizard, the Electric Man. Why can't I think of his name? It's not Shocker. It's Electro, and Sandman. So they're kind of doing a 3-on-3, and it's kind of cool because there's a lot of great little dialogue in there with like Tobey and Andrew talking to their former villains. The redemption, if you haven't seen Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield, spoiler alert for 5 seconds, his girlfriend dies, and that just happens to be Gwen Stacy, and he saves MJ in the same way that he couldn't save Gwen Stacy, and he was in tears. And it honestly, if you've seen that movie, you needed that. We needed that. That's how the movie ended. That was a horrible, sad ending. Not like a bad ending, but it was sad as hell. It's so Spider-Man of them to wanted to be curing the villains. So before the big fight, they worked together to make healing potions and stuff for these guys. It's classic Spidey teamwork. They do the whole thing where they point at each other when somebody asks for Peter, which is all you could really ask for. They coordinate mid-battle, Peter 1, 2, 3. I just love them talking about their different experiences. Neither Tobey Maguire doesn't have an Avengers, let alone a Thanos. I don't know what his Thanos is doing. Hopefully he's just taking the stones quietly. I don't know what other hero stuff's going on. It could be X-Men and Fantastic Four, and the Avengers are just a different group that aren't in that universe. I don't know if we'll ever learn that. I just love them talking mid-fight and all the back and forth. It's just really good. So after curing nearly all the enemies, we get to see this big fight between the Goblin and Peter 1, and he gets the Goblin's glider eventually is about to just throw it on him, and you know who stops him? Tobey Maguire, who then gets stabbed by the Green Goblin, but he's not dead. And it was just a powerful moment of restraint, and we know Peter 3, I don't know, he's the first Peter, I don't know. Tobey Maguire went through this dark phase when he had the symbiote, something our Tom Holland Spider-Man hasn't gone through yet, but most likely is going towards. And I don't know if Tobey Maguire will even make his way back into the series to warn him of the change that the symbiote has on you. I think it's going to be a bigger moment in our movies, and I think he's going to keep it for a while, until it really turns on him. But by the end of this fight, Strange is barely holding the multiverse together. You could see figures in the sky. I definitely saw Rhino up there, but they say it's all Spider-Man villains, but I couldn't see many. I think I saw Mysterio. Peter asked to be forgotten so he could save everyone, and everyone forgets him. But he had to have an honest goodbye with MJ and Ned, letting them know what's going on and that they won't remember him. And no friends, no family, just Spider-Man. That's how he's going to be. And it's a hard moment to watch him run away knowing that everyone he loves is about to forget him, considering he just lost his Aunt May. Like, he could be mourning this with Happy, who we do see them both at the gravestone mourning her together, and it was probably healing for Spidey to be there. Aunt May was so sweet in this series, and I didn't expect her death at all. There's MCU impact and predictions. I mean, let's think about this, because Spider-Man is just a street villain now. So he's not a villain. I'm sorry. He's a street hero defeating the villains on the streets of New York, and he's making his own suit, and he's just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man doing it alone. New suit, apartment, no Stark Tech, no allies, just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which I actually love. But I'm sad at how he got there, but I'm happy with the independence he's given. And it reminds you a lot of kind of like Tobey's situation, where he was living in that bedroom apartment in his movies too. And I was hoping the rent guy would show up. I'm sure they considered it, but they didn't want to take away from the moment. Venom in the post credits left a symbiote behind. So like I was saying, it's in our world, MCU world. So it's gonna do something to someone at some point. There's been a lot of teasers in MCU post credit scenes. It's been noticed by fans that where's Hercules? Where's this person? When's this going to be answered? So hopefully they do their due diligence before the multiverse saga ends, and just like answers everything in one movie, and not in a somehow Palpatine return type of way. If you know, you know. But all of this does open the door for more grounded Spider-Man stories and more multiversal chaos, to be honest. I think Ned's going to become a villain. He mentioned it jokingly in this episode, but I think, like, without knowing Peter, what if he becomes a villain? That'd be hard for Peter, man. I want to see that, kind of. But I also don't want Ned to be gone forever. Oh, okay. This movie, I ranted and raved so fast about this one, but it's just because I love it so much. And, there's a lot of good scenery. I kind of love, like, for example, the scene where Peter's wearing the inside out black and gold suit. Very cool looking. I have it in Fortnite. And he finds Electro, and he finds Sandman. And Sandman is just treating Peter like he's Tobey Maguire, because we know they have a history. I don't know why Sandman kind of goes evil. It's just kind of in him, I guess. I love the villain choices. I want there to be a Sinister Six movie, a real one. This is not like a non-real one. It's just a multiversal movie. Well, I want to see a full Sinister Six. Spider-Man No Way Home, final thought. It's not just a superhero movie. It's a celebration of legacy, sacrifice, and the very heart of what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. I do love this movie. I think the best time I saw it was in theaters with the crowd. However, because we do have a few crowd moments in the movie. If you're watching it, there's like silence when Peter arrives. If you're not like so excited, it's just like a long kind of awkward pause. But I'd rather have the theater be reacting like that. That's kind of inexchangeable. You know what I mean? This movie honors all the past Spider-Men, but boldly redefining a new future for Spidey and new stories. And it's a very emotional, exhilarating, and unforgettable movie, and that's why I love it. And I thought I was going to talk an hour about it, but I'm going to be honest. Like, I think I said what I wanted to say, and I have just so much hope for Peter's story. I want that ground level MCU fight where he takes on Fisk. I want all that to be leading to this. Even if it's in like the second movie of this new trilogy after the Multiverse saga, Fisk is still going. we get to see a lot of wherever Fisk's story is going every week in Daredevil Born Again. It's kind of special because he's a villain who we get about as much on-screen time as like you'd think Thanos, but definitely more through all the other Daredevil seasons. And he's been called the street-level Thanos. So I think we are bound to see Spider-Man come into play with the Mayor Kingpin situation. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out where that all goes. You know what I mean? I want to see Daredevil and Spider-Man fighting together. And the other half is some people think it's going to be a multiversal movie where Andrew and Toby will return again, and it's been between Sony and Marvel all this time. That is what I got for today, guys. I'm emotional when I think of this movie. It's from a very nostalgic point in my life, and it's kind of between a bad time, a good time, between a bad time and a good time, and being among that crowd is what I want again. I'm so excited for the future of Marvel and being in the crowds with my buddy TJ. Hopefully Dustin can come see some more. We're trying to get a group to see Fantastic Four. Marvel's a way of life. It's a way of life. And if you know, you know. Second time I said that today. It's because it's an internet trending thing. People I catch it by accident. It was like a little cold I caught, you know. If you know, you know. Okay, third time. That's it. That's all I'll say. That's all I got. Spider-Man No Way Home ends this trilogy on a positive note with Peter flying through the streets of a snowy New York City. And it is magical to see him sliding around those roofs and stuff. I'm very scared for him because he's in his own homemade suit, but he's been swinging around long enough to kind of know what he's doing. And the suit looks freaking good. It looks classic. It looks very suave. What do you think of Spider-Man No Way Home? Was it good? Did it meet your expectations? Are you like, what the hell? Why did they do this a Spidey story? MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. I want to hear your theories. I want to hear your input. Oh my goodness. We have a Patreon now. I'm also going to mention that. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/MarvelManiac. And we have a few tiers, and we're going to be putting out bonus episodes, 5-minute long, little quick episodes, and I'm excited as heck. I already got a ton of ideas. I haven't started recording them yet, but we'll do soon as we see more people go. Don't hesitate. Patreon.com/MarvelManiac. Find us on all your socials at MarvelManiacPod, and give us a thumbs up or a rating or whatever you can, wherever you're listening. It goes the longest way, and it means the world. Thank you, Avengers and Maniacs, for listening all this time. It means the world to me. And until next week, Avengers, disassemble.